Right, another video right before lessons. This is for the player and the coach who work extremely hard, okay? Mainly you. I'm gonna use the story of the three little pigs here because the three little pigs story represents foundation, right? So if you're a player and you are trying to build a path, you have to build a path, or in your journey, you have to build a game that withstands all the elements, right? And in this case, the big bad wolf, correct? So in order to build a house that's going to withstand everything, you need a particular type of engineering. Depends whether the house is on a hill, etc., right? What ground you're building into, and so on. Just as in tennis, as your level gets higher, the wolf gets better, right? It reminds me of a video I just heard where a coach was talking about certain coaches said this, and that's terrible information. I see players trying to do these things, but you should work on this. And what I want to explain about foundation with that is that the information the coach was bashing was actually correct, and the information he was showing was also correct. Now the idea is we need to understand where in the timeline of the player's development the player is, right? So if the player is at a particular place, we can give them that information. So as the player improves, we can't keep giving them the same information. So information the player was talking about was something you would do early on in the development, and then as the player develops, you more advanced stuff, right? Advanced information is not wrong. Is if we give it to the player too early, they may not be able to do it. So we have to kind of work with them to be able to do those things. Now, another problem that rises here is that there are going to be different levels of talent, so to speak. You can call it ability, right? Certain players' bodies are going to be able to immediately do pieces of information. And it doesn't mean then when somebody else does it, it's wrong. For some players, there needs to be patience, right? They have to take a bit longer. So that's for the parent and the coach and the player to say, you know what, I'm this particular person. So because I'm this particular person, and I've been diagnosed that, for me it's gonna take me a year, whereas it takes Nick Kyrgios 2 weeks, right? You have to understand that we're not all the same in that regard. So the foundation is where we are all the same, but on the top, when we build a house, is you can build it out of anything you want. That's going to withstand the wolf. The color can be whatever. That's where we are all different. But this whole we are different conversation is very misleading because you may allow a player to build a house out of straw, and it may be good until it rains or there's wind, right? And that's what most players face. They play through juniors with a straw game, and when they reach a particular level, their house collapses, right? And they have to build another house. Now, this is where it's like the GPS. If you take the wrong road for 3 years, and you have to come back for 3 years on the road you went, and you have to get back on track. That's the most difficult part for most players, right? So we need to diagnose the information correctly so that we can have the player be sure to stay patient and have the right info and not bash information we don't understand particularly. There are many players out there, coaches, just like players, who are very confident, right? They just have a confidence about them, even though it can't be backed up. So sometimes we may be loud and say things, but not being sure what we understand. And that can result in really misleading a big group of people. And what that looks like is there are many quiet coaches out there doing amazing work, but the loudest ones sometimes are saying things and they are misleading the majority because that's who gets seen the most, right? So we got to be careful with that. We have a responsibility too as coaches, because a kid is only 12 to 18 one time in their life, but that is a very important time, right? So if we're not clear about our information, it's important for us too as coaches to come back, right? Come back and rebuild our foundation and know that where it stems from, right? So we are responsible for many lives here, just like the engineers who build bridges. The engineer who builds the bridge has to build an amazing foundation that's going to withstand a very long time, and that's going to withstand a lot of traffic, every day. That is a very big responsibility, and we need to look at everything that we do this in a similar way, because the foundation that nobody sees, right, is hidden under potentially the water if it's going above an ocean or so. It's hidden under the water, but it took an engineer years and years to do that. But once it's there, it stays forever. That's the message of this video, is that the time you're going to take to be patient and work on your foundation and build it is what is going to help you withstand everything going forward. So, for example, if you spend 3 years from 12 to 18 doing that, building that foundation, when it's built and done, you can build whatever house you want. You can design the bridge however you want. But if you build it out of weak material and it's the most beautiful design ever, but it collapses, you are stuck in a very difficult place. You either have to come back, which is very difficult, and that's where most players we see quit sometimes, right? So let's try our best as coaches to, if we're gonna bash information, explain why. Sinner does that, or Alcaraz does that, or Federer does that. It's more about why is he doing that. Maybe Federer has gone through the foundation, right? Maybe he's done those steps, so that's why he can do it. And we can understand why in that timeline we can say what we say, right? There are many players who are very capable, but unfortunately between those ages they really get thrown away and lost, just because, you know, I may have an ego and I want to just push my way out there. So we have a big responsibility. Tennis is a great sport. Tennis is a long-term sport, and tennis is a sport that requires a lot of patience, more than many other sports, especially team sports. So thanks for watching. I hope this will make you think a little bit and ask yourself questions, ask others questions, ask where you are, and work on rerouting yourself if you need to, or on your GPS. The sooner the better, but there's never a better time than right now, right? That's the best we can do. Time just keeps moving. The best you can is just do it now. Okay, have a good one, and I better get to my lesson. All right, take care. Good luck.